and Mayo shipped everything to them out there. But they're going to make the body cast on the 5th because when he gets the daily radiation, he can't move. So they put him in the cast so he can't move.
But that's just during the radiation. And Barb went that. Yeah.
Shows the chairman on your watch.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Got enough, guys? Is this enough?
Yes.
That's all you need.
I'm going to call this meeting of the Code Enforcement Board to order. Everybody please stand for the pledge to the flag and the invocation.
Okay.
Oh, invocation first?
Yes.
I think we just.
Oh, God and country, right, sorry. I stand corrected.
All right.
Yeah.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for this beautiful summer. We pray that you would be with us tonight as we come together again for another opportunity to serve our community, to serve each other, and doing so, Lord, to serve you. Bless these proceedings, watch over and guide us, and help us to do the best we can to glorify your name through our actions here tonight. In your holy name, we pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And are there additions or corrections?
Well, I've got a couple of comments that I'd like to make about the minutes. As is normally the case, when we get the minutes, I'll go over them at home. If I find that there's something on there that's amiss or whatever, I'll send a message so that presumably it can be corrected before the meeting and rather than after the fact. And that was the case the other day when we got ours, and I sent a note to Karen, although Karen was not the one here last time, and she's not the one that compiled the minutes. And I said I had a few questions. One of them had to do with the misspelling that was part of the order itself. Karen basically said to me that she wasn't here and she'd pass it on to the person that was here. And, it could be that the way the minutes are after that correction was made that it's okay, but I felt a little offended by the preachy email that I got that basically told me, and I've been serving on this board for years and years and years, that the minutes are a summary, not a verbatim transcript. If the code violator wishes a verbatim transcript, now, it's not the violator that's asking, it's a board member. They must engage a court reporter at their own expense. I don't know where this comes from. If anyone wishes to know everything that was said, they may contact the planning department and request a CD at a cost of $5. It was, like I said, I just felt like a little bit talked down to about the whole thing. My comments had to do, and I don't expect any of those things. I don't expect a verbatim transcript. I don't expect that at all. But there were a couple of places where in the minutes questions were asked, but the answers that could have been provided to those questions, which would have been very short, were not provided. For example, one of them was where Attorney Gates, this is on the 9th paragraph, with a paragraph that starts, Attorney Gates called Alan Byrd. In the 5th sentence, the minutes state, Attorney Gates asked if anyone stopped him. There was no answer to that question. If the question hadn't have been asked, I wouldn't have been asking, well, why didn't they put that question in there? But if the question was in there, I felt like I was left wanting that the answer wasn't provided. In another place, in that same paragraph, Attorney Stewart asked Mr. Byrd who he spoke to in code enforcement, and again, there was no answer to that. I can't say that the minutes are wrong beyond the correction that was made, but it just seemed like if you're gonna provide the question in your interpretation of the minutes, and I understand it's not everything, it seems like an answer would be given. And we're not talking about some long, complex answer here. In one case, in fact, I think maybe both cases, we're talking about a name. And the only other thing that I had, it was in the sixth paragraph that starts with Attorney Stewart called Greg Graham. At the end of that paragraph, it reads, Victor Bowman asked the reason we have the white sand ordinance. Greg Graham stated that its purpose was to protect the white sand beaches. My comment to that, was there any mention of the coastal dune lakes? I remember at the meeting there being, somebody saying to protect the beaches and the coastal dune lakes. I'm not sure that it was at that point. If it was, it would have been, again, a very easy add to say, to protect the coastal, to protect the white sand beaches and the coastal dune lakes. On the other hand, it may be that that's not the point in the minutes where the coastal dune lakes came up. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure that I'd be bringing any of this up right now had I not gotten this response that basically tried to tell me how minutes are supposed to work. But
Let me make two suggestions. One, first, would you just copy me the two emails? And then what I would suggest is let me take a look at the emails and your suggestions, and I'll listen to the tape and see if we need to make additions. But go ahead and, if there's nothing incorrect, go ahead and adopt them tonight, and then we can always amend them later. And
I can email you those, or I can give you a hard copy right here.
Actually, a healthy email.
Okay,
If you don't
I understand. No, I understand.
I'll lose it between here and now.
I prefer having electronic stuff.
And
Thank
then
you.
that way, I can look at it, listen to the tape, and we can see if we need to amend it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else have any corrections, additions? If not, will someone move to accept them as written, at least temporarily?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented, caveat that there may be a slight amendment after review of tapes.
Anyone second it? You will, Robert?
Could you put your mic down?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Did you hear the motion?
I move that we accept the minutes. Wonderful. Can y'all hear me? All right. I get an echo. I move that we accept the minutes as presented with the caveat that the county attorney is going to review the tapes to make possibly a few minor edits.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are accepted then as written. Any announcements from the Code Enforcement Department? No? Hearing none. We could proceed to case number 1, number 15-532. Who's going to present for the county?
I'm Anna Reichert, and regarding case 15-532, we've requested that it be removed from the agenda because of recent developments. We're probably going to be sending out a amended notice of violation to address all the issues at once at the next code board meeting.
Okay. Any questions, anybody? We need a motion, Mr. Davis?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Move to accept, or rather to grant the continuance.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
you've got the continuance. Then we'll move on to case number 14-603. Ms. Manning, you're going to present. And could you step forward, please, and be sworn in? And is there anyone else going to testify in this matter? Ma'am, would you stand, please, to be sworn in?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Van Dyke, the way this works is she's going to present the county side of it. We'll ask her questions, you can ask her questions, and when she gets done, then you've got a chance to put your side on, and we'll ask you questions.
Okay.
Good evening, Board. Stephanie Manning, Walton County Code Enforcement. This matter involves case number 14-603, property owner Linda Van Dyke. On October 17, 2014, a complaint was filed with Code Enforcement concerning a new roof that was installed and also electrical work that was done on a house that would recently been moved onto the property. The said property is located at 6192 U.S. Highway 331 South, Defuniak Springs, Florida, Walton County, parcel ID number 26-2 North-119-18-030-030-0000. After site investigation from the roadway, it was determined that a new roof had been installed on each of the 4 structures located on the property, putting the property in violation of Ordinance 97-28 of the Walton County Land Development Code, Section 11.04.02.A regarding building without permits. Finding of facts is as follows. The complaint was received by Code Enforcement on October 17, 2014 regarding a new roof that was installed and also electrical work that was possibly done on a house that had been recently moved onto the property. If you'll turn to tab 1, Exhibit 1 is a copy of that report.
Mr. Davis, she needs to examine each of these and to determine their,
She gave her a packet.
do we need to go through them each one at a time?
Just to make a clean record, just for this.
Okay. Ms. Van Dyke, you have the option of objecting to the introduction of any of these as evidence if you have a valid reason to do so. So at the completion of each of these, I'm going to ask you if you're going to object to their being introduced as evidence.
No, I have no objections. Just one, thought that house, the house I had moved across the street.
Well, wait. We'll give you a chance to present your side of it. It's just whether the document that she's submitting is, in your opinion, a true and valid document. Okay.
And I tell you, Ms. Van Dyke, if you want to, do you mind flipping through all of them and seeing if you have any objections to any of them, and we'll do them all at one time.
That would be, yeah.
Why doesn't she already have this? She just got it 2 minutes ago. Well, she should have got it like December 14.
What was that?
Was that a termite?
Here's some big terms.
We actually saved the page.
Have you had a chance to look at all of them?
You see this right
Yes,
here?
sir. Everything that was done.
She conducted inspection on October 31st,
Do you have any objections to
2015.
any of the documents?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
good.
I would suggest we move tabs 1 through,
1 through 6, I believe, are going to be the official. Exhibit 7 is just going to be a timeline.
1 through 6 into the record.
Okay.
Right.
Then we'll accept these exhibits 1 through 6 into the record.
What did he say?
He said they were going to accept 1 through 6 into the record. Do you want to address?
Yeah, there's an error in the letter in the county's letter dated December 4th, 2014, it's Exhibit 3A. First paragraph says, I conducted a site inspection on October 31st, 2015, which hasn't gotten here yet.
Yeah, we haven't got there, but you're right,
Pardon
Ms.
me?
Mayor there.
Are you ahead of us?
Yes, slightly, but that's okay, because you got ahead of me, so we're even.
All right, so can we make that correction, please?
So it should say October 31st, 2014.
14, yes, sir.
How does this work? Because this is what was actually sent.
Right.
So you can't
She
change
said-
the document that was sent, but we can acknowledge, I don't know, you acknowledge that the date was wrong.
You can acknowledge the date was wrong, and if Ms. Van Dyke,
I know what she meant. I read it too, but I know what she meant.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
So
so
you're
we're going to
satis-
change it
That
now.
was at the changing of the year, and I apologize, we have.
So you're satisfied that's a document you received? Ms. Van Dyke, you're satisfied that's a document you received?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So it's, okay, all right, go on.
A site investigation was conducted on October 20th of 2014, and then again on October 31st of 2014. During that investigation, it revealed that 4 new roofs had been put on 4 separate structures. Property research revealed that that property belonged to a Linda Van Dyke of 6192 U.S. Highway 331 South, Defuniak Springs, Florida 32435. Parcel number 26-2 North-1-19-1800-030-0000. That's Exhibit 2A and 2B. The first one is the picture that was taken on October 30th. I tried to label the houses because structure 1 and 2 almost looks like the same structure. From this view, it was storming that morning. There's actually like I believe that's your tack shop.
Settle shop, yeah.
And then behind that is an actual residential structure that'll be structure number 2.
Okay,
On November 14th, 2014, a notice of violation was sent certified receipt return to Linda Van Dyke of 6192 U.S. Highway 331 South, Defuniak Springs. The letter was returned due to errors with the post office. We then sent out another letter on December 4th, 2014, which was the official notice of violation she received and signed for on December 16th of 2014 that give her a compliance date of January 7th of 2015. And that will be Exhibits 3A and 3B.
okay.
Ms. Van Dyke called the office on January 20th of 2015 and inquired on how to correct the violation, stated she had just received the notice. I advised her her compliance date had been January 7th, and we re-inspected on the 8th, found her to be non-compliant, and was going to be sending her to February's code board. She advised she would come in and get the permits. It went by a few months, never heard back from her. She did come in. On May 20th, I sent her a notice. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. I spoke with her on January 20th, let her know that she had passed her compliance date, which was January 7th. And at that time, she requested an extension, which I gave her till February 20th to get the permits. She assured me she would get the permits. She just didn't understand how to bring the property into compliance. I checked with the building department on February 24th of 2015 and found that no permits were ever obtained during that additional 30 days I'd given her. On May 5th of 2015, I sent a notice to appear for the May 21st, 2015 Code Enforcement Board meeting, and that notice was signed for on May 13th of 2015. That'll be Exhibits 4A and 4B.
Okay,
On May 20th, the day before the Code Enforcement Board, Ms. Van Dyke called to let me know that she had obtained the required building permits. I told her that was fine. We'd go ahead and remove her from the agenda. I was going to check with the building department. Once I got off the phone with her, I ran over, spoke with one of the Lindas. They advised she had obtained 3 permits. She obtained one for 2 non-residential structures and one residential structure, which I believe is going to be the tack shop, the barn, and one of the dwellings. I'm not sure, it doesn't identify which dwelling on the property it was for. I called her back and let her know that she still lacked one of the permits. She advised they were going to be tearing the building down due to a termite infestation. I told her then that was fine. She could go ahead and pull a demo permit, and either a roof permit or a demo permit would justify and bring the property into compliance. And that was on May 20th. I give her 30 days to obtain either a demo permit or the fourth building permit. Unfortunately, as of August 4th, 2015, no fourth permit had ever been pulled. We went ahead and sent a notice to appear to Ms. Van Dyke in which she received and signed for, and as of today's date, August 20th, the fourth permit's never been pulled.
Okay.
And that's going to be exhibits 5A and B, which was the final notice to appear, and the return receipt, and also 6A and B will be the pictures that were taken today that shows the four structures still on the property. That last one, 4B, will actually be that structure you see on the far right-hand side.
On 6A or on 6B?
On 6B, that big barn back there, if you look at 6A, on the right-hand side, you'll see that little bit of a structure there.
Yes.
That's going to be, then you have structure 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay, that's the same one that we see the detail of on 6B. And that's the structure for which a permit was never...
I'm not sure if it's structure this house or this house. The building permit just states it's a residential unit, one's a barn, and one was a tack shop. It doesn't specifically say which house it was. They don't specify. There's just one dwelling, residential dwelling left on the property that does not have a permit, whether it be a roof permit or a demolition permit.
I have to get demolition permit?
Ma'am?
I have to get demolition permit?
That's up to you. We had discussed that. If you didn't want to get the building, you said you guys were going to tear it down at the end of the year.
So I have to get a permit to do that?
Well, what we'll
We'll
need
get
do is
to
let
the-
her finish, then
yeah.
she can ask questions.
And then you're going to tell us about the timeline? Or is
I
this
put that in
simply...
there in case anybody had any questions, because there were several notices. That way it was just little
Oh, okay.
synopsis if anybody had any questions, and we stayed on track on the actual dates of what occurred. It's just a recap of the dates in case.
And does anyone have any questions? Ms. Van Dyke, look, you're going to get a chance to present your side of it, but you have the opportunity now to question Mrs. Manning about what she said.
Everything she said so far is true.
Okay. Well, then, if you're done, and we have no questions, then it's going to be your turn to step up here and tell us yours. You have more.
Do
You're
we do
going to...
final order or let her speak?
Yeah, go ahead and tell us what you suggest as the final order.
Finding of facts, conclusions of law, and order. This case comes before the public hearing before the Code Enforcement Board of Walton County, Florida, on August 20th, 2015, after due notice to the respondent and the Code Board, having heard testimony under oath, received evidence, and heard argument, hereby issued its findings of facts, conclusions of law, and orders as follows. The respondent, Linda Van Dyke, whose mailing address is 6192 U.S. Highway 331, Definiak Springs, Florida 32435, is the owner of the property also known as 6192 U.S. Highway 331 South, Definiak Springs, Florida, parcel ID 26-2 North-19-18000-030-000. The following conditions exist on the subject property in violation of section 11.04.02.a of the Walton County Land Development Code regarding building without permits. The respondent received administrative notice on December 16th of 2014. The notice advised the respondent that the condition of the property constituted a violation of the county code. The respondent was provided a reasonable time to correct the violation with a compliance date of June 20th of 2015. Respondent failed to correct the violation on or before the compliance date. The county has incurred administrative fees of at least $450 on account of prosecuting this code enforcement violation. Conclusions of law. This is a lawfully constituted code enforcement proceeding convened pursuant to Chapter 162, Part 1, Florida Statutes, and Chapter 12 of Walton County Land Development Code. The Code Board has jurisdiction over the subject matter and the respondent. Notice of the proceedings have been duly provided to the respondent as required by county code. The respondent, Linda Van Dyke, by reason of foregoing facts, is in violation of section 11.04.02.A of the county code. The respondent is subject to the enforcement jurisdiction of the Code Board. Our order recommendation is based upon the foregoing facts, the facts and conclusions of law, and pursuant to the authority granted in Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes by motion and duly seconded and passed by the County Code Board by a majority vote. It is hereby ordered the respondent is to correct the aforesaid violation on or before September 20th, 2015. The respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of the subject property to verify compliance of this order. In the event that county staff finds the aforesaid property is not brought into compliance after September 20th, 2015, the respondent shall be ordered to pay a fine in the amount of $250 per day per violation until the property is brought into compliance. Assessment of such penalty shall be as provided by law. An administrative fee of $450 is assessed against the respondent and shall be paid on or before September 20th of 2015. Upon recording in the public records, this order shall constitute a lien against the land on which the violation exists, and upon any other real or personal property owned by the respondent. In the event the lien remains unpaid after 3 months from the filing date, the board may authorize the county attorney to foreclose on the lien or to sue to recover a money judgment for the amount of the lien plus accrued interest. Upon petition of the circuit court, such order shall be enforceable in the same manner as a court judgment. The fines imposed in the order shall continue to accrue until respondent comes into the compliance or until judgment is rendered, whichever comes first. A true and correct copy of these findings of facts, conclusions of law, and order shall be delivered to the respondents by certified mail with return receipt or by hand delivery.
Okay. Yeah, Dave.
Yes. Yeah, a couple of questions, maybe three. So just so I'm clear, we're one violation in front of us, correct, for one of the residential structures?
Yes, sir. Even if she would have got permits for any of them, it'd still been one violation.
Oh, okay. All right, so in your recommendations for the fines, we're only talking one violation?
The standard
Okay.
$250 for one violation.
All right, and my understanding is that one of the structures in question, or the not in compliance, you had said she had request or indicated she's going to demolish the structure, and you told her that she needed to acquire a demolition permit, correct?
Specifically, yes, sir, on May 20th, that's when I removed her from the last code enforcement board that she was noticed for.
Mm-hmm.
She called, said they didn't know she needed a roof permit for the fourth building because they were going to tear it down. I said, no problem, run in and get you a demo permit, they're $50. She asked how long it was good for. I told her 6 months. She said that they didn't plan on tearing it down to the end of this year or next year. I told her there's no way that the building permit nor the code case would hold her that far. So even if she got the permit, that would only give her 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
She said that they were tearing it down due to termites, and they were trying to wait to the end of the year or the beginning of the year because of the heat.
Okay. All right. Is a demo permit extendable past the 6 months?
I've never had one be extendable.
All right. I think
It's
that's all I
possible.
have.
I've never personally had
Mac
one.
is nodding affirmative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt Carpenter for Walton County Planning. I have not been sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Any building permit may be extended at the discretion of the building official.
So demo permit's just a subcategory.
It's
Okay.
It's a type of building permit.
One last question. Was it ever transmitted to Ms. Van Dyke in writing that she had the option of pulling the demo permit? I mean,
No, sir. We usually don't recommend people tear their house down.
well, I mean, there was her option to get a demolition permit in lieu of the standard building permit. And the reason I say that is just because she's back there shaking her head, she didn't know. I mean, we'll ask her when she gets up there, so that's fine. I just wanted to ask you first if that was transmitted in writing.
No, sir.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Ms. Van Dyke, would you step up here to the podium? And would you please explain your side of this event?
Well, DOT gave me a time frame to get everything moved so that they could,
Could you speak at the microphone, please, ma'am?
He doesn't hear too well.
all right, DOT gave me a time limit to get everything moved so that they could put in their 4-lane. And so part of that was moving that house, which I could have had torn down, but I chose to keep it. It was well built. And so I had limited funds, so I preferred to do that and get everything organized than get the permits, so, or at least right away, and that was in 2014. Then when I could afford to, I went ahead and got the permits. And then I went back and to get the one for the electrical and the one for the roof on the house that I was going to tear down. And the lady told me, she was visiting with somebody, and she told me that when I got everything together that I had to have something for the electrical, and I don't remember what it was, but to come back. And I got robbed. My house was burglarized for the umpteenth time to the tune of $300,000 in the past 15 years. And I had the sheriff's department come out, and the sheriff's department took a statement, an incident report, and listed all the stuff that was taken, and then did nothing. They didn't interview neighbors. They didn't see if anybody had cameras that may have caught anything and that sort of thing. So I went from there to the FBI to find out if my civil rights were being violated, because it's been going on a long time. And they said no, that if the sheriff department didn't want to do their job, that was their prerogative. And I said, okay. So I was able to afford an ADT system, and I had that installed. And right now I'm kind of short on funds, but whatever you deem that I should pay, I'll go down and get that permit if that's what I have to do, even though I was waiting for cooler weather to tear that house down. It's pretty hot right now.
But at this point, you're willing to tear the house down?
Yeah, I was planning to anyway, because the burglars come from that direction, and I know that my neighbors are mostly responsible because they, after their parents died, did a lot of drugs, and meth was one of them that they procured and manufactured and all that kind of stuff, and that's why my burglaries have been so intense. So I wanted to tear that house down for line of sight, for cameras and stuff. But I wanted to do wait for cooler weather to do it in.
Well, why didn't you go ahead and get if they're correct and you have 6 months once you get the demolition permit, and the permit only costs $50, why haven't you gotten that permit?
She didn't give me all the specifics on the demo. I didn't even know you needed a permit for the demolition. I told her that I wanted to tear the house down, but she told me I had to get a permit even though, because of the roof I had put on it. But I put that roof on 5 years earlier, and I didn't know I had to get a permit. So when she made me aware of that, I went down to take care of it, but then the lady said, well, when you get this electrical thing situated, come back. So I said, okay, well, I didn't get a chance to go back, because that was when that burglary happened, and I got pissed off and went to the FBI. And
Okay, but at this point, it seems like it's a pretty simple matter.
yeah, well, I didn't know that it was only $50 for a demo permit. She didn't explain any of that to me. She did say, I informed her that I wanted to tear the house down. And she didn't tell me then that I needed a permit for that. She just told me I had to have a permit for that roof that I had put on that house.
But at this point, you understand, right? All you got to do
Sure.
is come in here tomorrow and buy a $50 permit. And,
Well, I can do it in Defuniak too, can I?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
you can do it in
closer.
the North County, too.
That's closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything else she said is true. I mean, I've dragged my feet, but I've had a lot of problems to deal with, so they seem more important to me.
Yeah,
Just one more question.
yeah, go ahead.
So
Charlotte,
at this point, since will you affirm that you understand now that you know the only thing lacking is either that building permit or the demolition permit if you intend
Well, no,
to?
there's an electrical something in there too.
Well, according to,
She mentioned.
Yeah,
can we ask
So I don't know what I have to do to do that. I mean, does the
Well,
county?
let's find out
Does
here.
the
Is
county
it-
have to come out and
Let's
inspect
find out
the-
right now, because I
don't know.
asked, that's what the question I asked her earlier, and I thought I got
She didn't
the clear
explain it in
answer.
their last letter.
Part of the original complaint was electrical. We did not go on the property.
Mhm.
When I spoke with her about the demolition and the option for demolition, or that I did mention to her that if she had gotten any electrical work, she needed to get it permitted. Sorry about that. I did mention to her if she had gotten any electrical to have it permitted. She said that they had done some work and asked about fixtures. I don't remember the exact conversation. I told her I didn't know what all required permitting, to go ahead and contact the building department. And then whenever she done the demolition or the roof permit, ask them what would be required to be permitted.
Okay, so if she has 3 permits for 3 structures right now, building permits. If she gets a demolition permit for the 4th structure, she doesn't need an electrical permit or any kind of building permit.
That's
correct?
between
all she
her
needs.
and the building official.
That's all she needs.
She
though,
needs to
right?
speak with them. As far as we know,
Well,
she needs that. If
the
she,
building permits or the demo permit would cover electrical and everything.
that's what the case is on, yes, sir.
Okay.
And that would settle the case. You'd be,
Either a demo or a roof permit, yes, sir.
okay. And then if she
And
gets in
following
trouble.
through with those permits and
I
getting them
understand.
finished up.
I understand. Yes, Charlotte.
Do we have 4 roofs, new roofs?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
the deal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if she demos it, she's demoing the roof. Could you tell me what a roof permit costs?
I'm not sure. I asked today. They said they're like $39. I cannot justify that. They said they were. That's just what the building department told me this morning. I don't know. I've never pulled it
I
up.
paid $250 for
Yeah, that's-
buildings, over $250 for buildings.
So I can't give you an honest answer on that because I don't know. Which is what I was told by the building department.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone else have questions, gentlemen? For Ms. Van Dyke, questions? Yeah, Robert?
Who put on these roofs on these buildings? Was that self-help?
I was my own contractor. I hired help. I was my own contractor. I hired help.
You had a contractor do the work?
I'm my own contractor. I
You're
own
your
the
own
property.
contractor.
I own the buildings. So I'm my own contractor and I hired help.
Are you a licensed contractor?
No,
She doesn't have to.
I don't have to be if I own
But
it.
Robert, that doesn't, if they're happy with the permit, say they're happy with the permit.
It's well done, I believe. Believe me, I
Yeah, Dave?
All right, so I'm going to ask you again. Do you understand that if you get that demolition permit based on what you just heard,
I'll
that
get
you
it
will
first.
come into compliance? You will be in
get it
compliance?
first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And then you'll have 6 months to take the building down.
Right, that'll be plenty of time and it'll be cooler in another month.
Okay. Well, then,
Now, what about the court costs and all that kind of stuff?
yeah, that's the next thing that we're going to face.
Well, first, I mean, we have to find her in violation.
Right, right.
I'm through with my question. I don't know.
Anyone else, questions? Then, look, I'm going to close the public part, that is to say that you're done talking to us, and we're going to decide about how we're going to handle the finances of this. Okay, whether there'll be a penalty involved, and if so, when it'll take effect.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the public part is closed, and now.
Well, I
any
don't
dis-
think it'd be a penalty if she does what she says she's going to do.
Right.
Takes the building down, gets the demo permit. All we're talking about would be the administrative fees.
Well,
as
we
far
need to
as
find
financial.
her in,
Right.
we need to find her not in compliance and give her a date specific in which she
come into
needs to come into compliance, and then we can consider the $450 court or administrative fee is what we call it. So does anyone want to make a motion?
All right, I'll make a motion that she's, in violation, and that we give her 2 weeks to come into compliance, and by that I mean get a permit for the demolition.
2 weeks after the date of the final order? Isn't that?
Well, the recommendation said September 20th.
2 weeks from today?
Well, we'll wait, we're still working this one out.
Yeah, let's make it from the date of the signed order.
Right, that's when we always do it, is from the date of the sign order.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't, she has the ability to go do this probably in the next few days, so that shouldn't put a burden on her. And
Okay, so 2 weeks, she has 2 weeks to come into compliance after the date the final order is signed.
right,
Signed or she sees it?
Signed.
Signed.
Signed and mailed would be the same day.
Okay.
So it's in her best interest to go and take care of getting the demolition
Okay,
permit.
will anybody second that motion?
I will.
Okay, so the motion's made and seconded that she needs to come into compliance 2 weeks after the date that the final order is signed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Now the matter of the $450 administrative fee. Discussion? Or
Yeah.
motion? Yeah.
We've given her 2 weeks to come into compliance. Do we not need to say that if she doesn't come in?
Right, that's
Yeah,
what I was thinking.
okay,
If she
yes.
does it, right. if she
There
doesn't-
needs to be,
If
perhaps,
she ignores this,
right.
then there should be
Don't we
a
just,
stiff
don't we
penalty.
need to find her in violation first?
Well, we
I think
can't
that's what
find
we
her in
just did.
violation of something that hasn't yet happened. She hasn't yet
But, no.
violated the order.
No,
No,
the
no,
first motion found her in violation.
Right.
The
Yeah,
second motion would be
Right.
what would the
After that
fine
date.
be, and
Yeah.
then the third would be the administrative cost.
Okay.
I missed the first one.
I'll make a motion that we find an administrative fee of $100 if she
no,
doesn't.
wait,
No,
deal
you
with
jumped
the,
it.
deal with the second one first,
I move that if she has not come into compliance within 30 days after the issue of the order, these are 2 extra weeks, then she will be starting to be assessed a fine of $100 a day.
why would you give her an extra 2 weeks? She's in violation on the 15th day.
Okay? You
Is it
start from that day if
2
you want
years?
to.
Well, maybe
She's
I'm
not-
confused about what the first motion was, and it was to find her in violation and to give her 2 weeks from the date that it was signed to come into compliance. So the next step then is if she doesn't come into compliance,
She gets fined.
right, how much?
I'm saying $100 a day.
Okay, but there's not another time link
Okay,
attached to
well,
that.
Whatever. I
Okay.
think
Right.
$100 is sufficient in this case.
Should we make that part of the first motion?
No,
Okay.
Second motion.
All right, any discussion?
So this is $100 per day?
Per day,
Okay,
Okay,
starting from the day that she
The-
is in non-compliance.
right, if she fails to come into compliance. I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? That motion carries.
Dave's having a
Now,
hard
Robert,
time
you
over
can
there.
discuss the administrative cost.
I move we waive the administrative cost.
I think so.
That's interesting. Do I hear a second?
I'll second
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, you got 2 weeks to get it together, and if you do that and take the building down, everything goes away.
If you don't, you start checking up some real numbers going to retro.
Yeah.
Well, what if I don't have, for whatever reason,
I'm going to charge her for a $30 bill.
what if for whatever reason, I'm slightly handicapped, but I don't get enough people to help take the building down, and it doesn't get done in the first 6 months or whatever, can I get an extension on that? Or am I going to be in
If you show-
violation
if-
for not tearing down the house? Or
Between you and the building.
Yeah, it's
department.
between you and the building department, but if you show good faith and something happens, they may listen to you, but I'd recommend that if you can possibly take it down, you get it down.
But Mr. Carpenter came up and said that you could be potentially, not definitely, but potentially could be given a permit, an extension for that permit.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
But it's in everybody's best interest if you could manage to get it down.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, Officer Manning, you want to request permission to post?
I've got 2 cases I'm requesting permission to post notice to appears on. The first case is going to be case number 15-381. It's going to be Flowers, Johnson, and Powell. I've made multiple attempts, 2 different addresses. I've worked through commissioners trying to get notice to these people. Ultimately, we had to post the property. With the stop work order, we had to post it with the notice of violation, and I have a feeling we may possibly need to post the notice to appear as well. They're not accepting the letters at either address they gave us. So in the event that we continue to have issues with the development order on that property, which is operating without a development order, we're seeking permission to go ahead and post the notice to appear on the property.
Okay, any questions? And then, if not, a motion to allow them to post?
I so move.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
You have permission.
Thank you. The next case is case number 15-382. 2014-330 regarding Rochelle and Christopher Pinnock. Made multiple attempts to send notices of violation and also the warning letter to their address listed with the property appraiser. They've all returned back unclaimed. I did post a notice of violation on the property. I drove by again yesterday to make sure that it's staying put with the storms. I just want to check and see if I can get permission to post the notice to appear if need be for the junk and debris on that case.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you have permission on that one, too.
Thank you.
Any additional business? If not, I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
How long do we get her to 2 weeks from the final?
From the date I signed the final order, she's got 2 weeks to come into compliance by just
Yeah,
getting
I'm
it.
saying, why don't we just do the blanket accept the conclusion and the final recommendation, which we come out.
I'm horrible about.
Oh, instead of one motion, instead of two, because we didn't think about it.
Let's try to interrupt. Let's try to interrupt. All right, just let it go.
Hey,
All right, so you recognize me now. Yesterday morning, or Tuesday morning, you went by the-
Oh, when I went